Welcome to It's Upgrade Season, the only place to get raw and unfiltered advice on how to get your shit together 1 week at a time. I'm your host, Alexandria, and join me every Monday for The Upgrade and every Friday for The Wind Down, where I'm going to be answering your dilemmas. Small shifts, huge upgrades. Let's fucking do this. Welcome back to the podcast, and today's guest was one of my final London podcast interviews. It was such a fucking vibe being in London, you guys. When we left London, and I've been very honest about this, I hated London. Fucking hated London. I hated the tube. I hated the hecticness. I hated the winters. I hated my apartment. Like, I was trying to find gratitude, don't get me wrong, but if I was like being completely honest, I was not vibing with London. And now when I go back, I can vibe with London again. I was living my best fucking London life. We were in central London. We were walking distance to Covent Garden, which is just such a dreamy, beautiful area. I was literally like a 4-minute walk from One Rebel. So I was living my best One Rebel life, which can I just say just really takes me back to being in my early 20s. When I first moved to London, I was signing up for like class pass after class pass free trial because I couldn't really afford it properly. But I wanted those bougie gym classes. I honestly, until they changed the system, and if you were one of these girlies, you'll know about this, you used to be able to just put like email address after email address in. And eventually I think they cottoned on because then you needed to use phone numbers as well. And when I tell you every single one of my family members had a ClassPass membership, every single one of my family members had it. Jake used to get my reservations like text through to him. He'd be like, babe, you've got like a reformer class. So I really milked the ClassPass. But I would like to just say, these days, I am a fully paying member of ClassPass. And if that doesn't say I'm adulting, I don't know what does. But I'm a fully paying member, and I was really enjoying just being in the city, getting to do these amazing classes. I really appreciate my ClassPass membership for that, actually, because we do travel a lot, and I do like to stay on top of trying to stay fit, trying to stay healthy, especially with a little boy these days. So I love that no matter what city I'm in, I can find local gym classes, and local bougie amazing gym classes, might I add, which is right up my street. And I can really stay on top of my fitness with real sense of ease and flow. If you've not tried ClassPass already, I am going to drop a link in the show notes. This is not sponsored or anything, by the way. I just genuinely fucking swear by ClassPass. So anyway, I was in London, living my best life. We were walking distance to Blank Street as well. Blank Street Coffee. Oh my God. And I feel like that's a US and a UK reference because I actually have it over here, but there's not one in Austin, which is kind of sad. But it was amazing, you guys. It felt so good to be in the city. It was so nice to see friends, and it was so amazing to get to record these episodes. And the reason I was sharing all this, I did not mean to go on my ClassPass rant, but we did, and here we go. Someone messaged me actually the other day being like, I love your random rants. So I was like, okay, noted. Like, not gonna try and organize my brain any more than that. But this was the final episode I actually recorded in London, and we really did quite a few recordings when we were there. We had the studio back to back. And so it's the end of the day. It's our second recording day, and into the studio walks Sarah Powell. Let me tell you about Sarah's energy. Sarah is like sunshine and fucking rainbows. She is like afternoon tea, okay? She is just so much joy embodied, but she also just has the kindest, most amazing heart. She's one of those people that when you're with her, you just want to hang out with her for longer and longer. And it was honestly such an amazing end to the day and such an amazing end to the run of our London podcast recordings that I couldn't be more grateful. And let me tell you, when I'm holding it to this, I'm holding this. Sarah, if you're listening back, we are doing karaoke in London. You promised me we are going to do karaoke in London. We're going to do it in the afternoon. We're going to have like a girls' reunion. We're going to get all the girls together. It's going to be fucking amazing. So, her more formal intro, guys. Sarah's self-celebration started because something was off. She had a gorgeous life, but she could never relax and enjoy it. How fucking relatable is that? Her best life always seemed a long way off. Sarah was anxious, exhausted, and frustrated, which manifested in her relationships and her inner monologue. So she started celebrating. The most amazing thing was all those changes she had wanted, all those things her future self did slowly started creeping closer. Changes started to appear because she wasn't wanting anymore, she was doing it now. Sarah developed a system of being that could encourage and support herself, and now she wants to show you how to do the same. She is passionate about sharing advice, insight, motivation, inspiration, and she wants everyone to recognize how powerful their uniqueness is through self-celebrating, and in that way increase their confidence and self-esteem. Sarah also, I have to do a shout out, has her own podcast, which is called The 11s. She releases episodes every day, you guys. That is a level of commitment that I am just like, wow. But it's an amazing space to drop in for daily laughs, advice, and celebration. And she also has an incredible membership called The Parlor. So I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to share a little screenshot on Instagram and tag us in of you listening. Let us know which bits made you laugh, which bits maybe made you cry. I mean, we talk all about real birth stories. I mean, we go in here, but we also talk about the challenges of people pleasing, not self-pleasing. That sounded a bit dirty. People pleasing, self-worth, motherhood. It's honestly hilarious. It's such an amazing episode. So screenshot it. Let us know which bits made you laugh, let you cry. And I'm going to let you listen to the episode now because it's a fucking good one. Hi, babes.
Hi, love. Thank you so much for having me.
I also feel like when I greet you, I have to say, hi, babes. But then I feel like I'm stealing your line.
No, no, it's not mine. I didn't invent it. I didn't come up with it.
You didn't invite it.
No. Do you know, nobody sets out to have a catchphrase.
Yeah.
You know, and I just started saying it. And then people started saying it back to me. And also, I used to say this a lot. I used to go, morning.
Yes.
And then it became a thing. And I was like, oh, it's a thing. Like,
yeah,
I may as well put it on a tea towel, which I did. I sold it on a tea towel.
Hang on, I love that. Hang on, wait. Right, two things.
Yeah.
One, you didn't set out to be an icon, you just are. And number two, why the tea towel? Why was that the first thing that came to mind?
Because I'm just so bloody British.
Yes.
I just love a tea. I mean, I'm at home most of the time. Like, I am so thrilled to be out of my own house and here with you. I haven't got a toddler.
In the basement.
That's it. I'm locked in. That's great. That's what I want. I want to be totally uncontactable. I haven't got a toddler smearing toast down me. You know, I've got a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Like, I was going to bring my slippers.
Oh,
like,
you should have done. I would have embraced that.
I have become that person who takes slippers to people's houses.
Oh, that's a new level.
And we used to mock my nan.
Yeah.
My nan would always bring her slippers to our house, like in a carrier bag. Yeah. And now I'm like...
I also think, what a polite person, because I'll be honest, I have an ag if people wear shoes in my house. I'm not about wearing the shoes around, get your dirty mitts out.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite polite to bring around a pair of slippers.
Yeah, I'd never thought of it that way. Yeah. I can't bear outside clothes like on a bed. You know, if somebody comes in and they sit on your bed in the jeans and I'm like, you've been on the bus in those jeans and now you sat on my bed. And sometimes, like, John will put his work bag on the bed. I mean, he doesn't do it anymore. But,
he's learned.
You know, like people who go to a hotel and put their case on the bed.
No, that's an ick for me. Yeah. No, I can't do that.
Awful.
I hadn't thought, hang on, you've just unlocked a new phobia for me, though, so thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Now Jake's just going to come home and just be sat in his jeans. Get off the bed!
Yeah. Take your jeans off.
Take your jeans off. He's going to
sit on a towel.
He's going to be quite into that until he realises it's just because they're dirty. Take your jeans off. No, not like that.
Yeah, put your joggers on is what I mean. Your home, your lounge wear.
Put your joggers back on.
But who can relax in jeans?
No, babes.
Like, it's like coming in and taking your bra off, isn't it? You take your jeans off, you put your joggers on, you're in.
She says in denim.
Yeah, well, that's because I've left the house. I've put a good bra on for you today.
You did say I was very
really
flattered.
Honestly, I can't emphasize enough how happy I am to be anywhere. Like, there's no monitor with a baby that, you know, that's like the alarm.
The permanent white noise.
And then the crying that is basically like, time's up. Hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed those couple of hours. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's never long enough.
No. Do you ever get the paralysis as well? I call it the nap time paralysis, where like, I'm like, they're down. And then I'm like, but what do I do? Yeah. And then I'm like, there's so many things I could do. How do I possibly pick what to do? And then by the time I've picked what to do, I've just like literally just sat down to do it. And it's like,
yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I fucked away all that time.
That was it. Yeah. So like, nobody talks about that enough, the pressure. And I've realised I can't do anything on a laptop with a baby around.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my go-to. Even if I just sit looking at the laptop, even if I don't turn it on. I just sit there, just looking at it, going, okay, I'm making the most of it, because I couldn't be doing this with them. Most other things, you can find a workaround.
True.
You can throw a rice cake out of the shower at them or something, you know.
I tried to take Leo in the shower with me the other day, and literally, because he's just started walking, so he's walking, but he's quite twaddly, and I needed to close my eyes for a second to get the shampoo out, but I was kind of keeping an eye on him.
Yeah.
So it was quite stressful, I'll be honest. I kid you not, I closed my eyes for 2 seconds, hand, vagina, bam.
Wow.
Like karate chop straight in it. And then I just open my eye and he's looking like, what is this? Like literally head to the side, like, what is this? And I'm like, wow, this is the last time I ever shower my child.
Yeah, that's it. You think it's going to be gorgeous. You think it's going to be like
Earth
a
Mama.
Timotei advert.
Yes.
You know, a bit of quite an old reference there, actually. Sorry to anyone who's under 35 and listening. But you think it's going to be that, like, so natural with your baby. And then they slip over and they're like, you know, or they pull on the shower curtain.
Corner.
That's it, all of it. And you're just like, this is rubbish.
Oh my God, I love this. So, speaking of babies.
Yes.
Number three.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
Well, I feel great.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before we came on. So lucky, so blessed, just blessed beyond belief. Yeah. Just need a wee every 12 minutes. But yeah, I feel amazing and yeah, I'm just thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. So we've got Nancy, who at the time of recording is 2.5. Louis,
she'll be 5 by the time.
God, don't. Louis is 11 months.
Yeah.
And all being well.
Yeah.
Because none of us know what's going to happen. But all being well, this baby will be here in October. So I had a baby last year, and I'm having a baby this year.
So is this the 2 under 2?
Well, it'll be 3. See, I was thinking about this. There'll be 3, and the eldest will be 3. So is that 3 under 3, or do they have to be under?
I take you 2 under 2, and I'll one up you. I'm gonna give you a 3 under 3, and see how I manage that.
Nobody asked to see how I would manage that. Nobody's gone, oh, what about 3 under 3, Sarah? I've just gone, do you know what? We're going to do?
Idea. Nobody panic.
But it's gorgeous. I've always wanted 3. I remember being at school, like, you know, you're like writing on your pencil case, you're like, I'm going to have 3.
And I'm going to call them this.
Yeah. Oh, God, horrific names.
What were your names when you were younger?
What were my names? It will have been awful. It would have been something... Oh, God, I wanted to say Tanqueray or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, it'll just be something daft. Yeah. Do you remember yours?
Well, I remember one was Jessica, which isn't that wild.
Nice.
But my reasons are weird. So all the Jessicas I knew were really nice and really pretty. So in my 5-year-old brain, I was like, well, if I call her Jessica, she'll be nice and she'll be pretty.
Lovely. So sweet.
So sweet.
Isn't it funny with names? If you have one bad association, there was a girl who I went to school with, Beth.
Yeah.
Sorry, Beth. She was vile.
You were a bitch.
Hideous. And now I just, if you hear it, it's almost like a sort of trigger point. It's weird, isn't it? With names, if you've had a bad experience, you're like, oh my gosh, Beth.
But it's an association. You don't want to associate your beautiful baby with this Beth from school. No, who just wasn't like the
this
most
energy that sort of you feel like it's going to transcend across.
Leak into your child.
It's going to come in. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Totally weird. But I'm excited for you with the 3. How are you feeling?
I feel great.
Good.
I'm very lucky, as I keep saying. Like, I'm so lucky.
I'm so lucky.
But I am, because I have easy pregnancies.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it is, like I just said, I mean, my pelvic floor is like a piece of wafer thin ham. But other than that, everything's, it's just amazing. And also, I can just eat biscuits. All the time.
Dream.
I'm not even craving them. I'm just eating them.
Not for me, it's for the baby.
Yeah, always. Eating
Always
for 2, I'm eating for about 25. Like, let's be clear.
But what I was going to say is, great pregnancies. How is postpartum for you? Or how has it been previously?
It's been good. I haven't been doing my pelvic floor.
Okay.
And it shows.
Okay.
Hence the constant need for a wee. So do your pelvic floor.
Yeah,
is all I'm going to say.
Anyone,
if you're listening, if you have a pelvic floor, just let's all do it together now. Everyone here.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm just, Yeah, I would like I had easy labour. I mean, as easy as a labour ever is, but I was able to have them out of my vagina. What?
Slip right out.
Again, no one asked, but here I am. And so, yeah, I think it's so. The thing for me about becoming a mum was lots of people talk about getting back to who they were.
Yeah.
And I can really understand that.
Yeah.
I really can. For me, I was so ready to let go of her. I was so ready to like say goodbye to her and enter into this new place of being that's why it felt like all the lights came on for me. It just felt like, do you know what I mean? I was just so ready to step into something new. And I think that all of the things that you have when you have other people to look after, so the routine and the schedule, and it is monotonous and it is boring and repetitive, but there's something I find that very reassuring. I needed that. Like I always loved school because I loved being told where I needed to be and when, and that was it. That was my day taken care of. I didn't, when I sort of got into my 20s and it all became a bit free fall, like, well, it's up to you. That's where I struggled, and that's where a lot of anxiety came in and a lot of perfection drama. Is this decision the right one? Am I doing the right thing? You know, am I doing what I need to be? Especially, you know what it's like working for yourself.
Well, I was going to say, how did you balance working for yourself and that need for structure?
Not very well. In hindsight,
Top tip.
Not very well at all. I think... So my sort of first career was on the radio. So by the nature of that, you're not going to do a 9 to 5 because if you want to be on the radio, you're on the radio, you know, for a few hours a day, and either side of that's prep or whatever you need to do. So because the nature of what I wanted to do meant that I had to be freelance and I had to be in charge of my time, that's where I struggled. I think that's where my sort of structure and routine fell down. And so when I had a baby, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Like nobody's expecting anything of me. I can stay in bed if I want. I mean, not so much anymore. Sadly, when you have more than one, you have to get up.
Teach me your tricks.
But you could just... that was the other thing I absolutely loved. I loved being present. I loved that you were just doing whatever you're doing in that moment, because that's what's so lovely about babies, isn't it? They are so utterly, there's no past, there's no future. It's just like, I'm hungry now, I'm sleeping now, I need you to try and get me to sleep now. I don't know what I want now, but why don't we try and figure that out? And I love that as well. I love coming back and going, okay, what's the next one thing in front of us? Like, we don't need to worry about what's happening in a year. I don't even need to know what's happening at the end of the day, particularly. We're just going to get through the next hour together. Will we have a shower? Will we eat something? What's going to happen?
Will you discover mum has a vagina?
Who knows? Will I be attacked in the shower? What will happen? And I love that. And I think that has allowed me to take care of my anxiety a lot better. But the other thing that happened as a result of having a baby was, obviously, you're tired. And when my sleep went off or when I got tired, that was, my anxiety just skyrocketed. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people. And things just everything's harder, isn't it?
It's a form of torture. They torture people through lack of sleep. But then you just do it. As
well, that's the other thing. You're amazed because I don't know what it was like for you, but before you have a baby, everyone's like, oh, you won't sleep. And you think, but I have to sleep. I don't think you understand. I'm a person who really likes sleep.
I
really enjoy it.
I was angry at people when they said, like, you'll be fine. I was like, no, you do not understand. You do not know me.
I
get this.
Yeah, that was it. I was like, no, I love being in bed, like, more than other people. I'm really good at sleeping. And you do, like, you surprise yourself. You're like, you just get on with it. Something kicks in. But what it really highlighted to me about that, I hadn't been dealing with my anxiety. So my anxiety skyrocketed. And I was like, I am done with waiting for this to go away on its own. Or waiting to put in those things, the meditation, the 3 meals a day,
with all the time
the
you have,
optimum hydration, the workouts. I am sick of waiting for those things to appear in my life and to be part of my life. So I reached out to my GP, had the most amazing experience, like this fabulous mental health nurse. And I've been on medication since then. And that has changed my life as well. So those combination of those two things, but it was definitely having babies that allowed me to be able to do that, because previously I was like, no, come on, Sarah, if you just meditate enough, if you just get up a little bit earlier, if you just stretch, it will all be better. And then when it wasn't, because I didn't do those things, you're just in that cycle of waiting for it to go away.
Yeah, completely. I love that you're so honest about this as well, because I do think it's a conversation that needs to be had in general, as we know, but I think also particularly around that time when those tools aren't accessible to you. Like I went through this period and it was that realization of like, okay, these things make me feel better. I can't access these things right now. So what the fuck are you meant to do then? Like, I don't think people think that through fully. And it is a wake-up call. And you have gone from like, I can stay in bed, I can do this, I can do that. And like, even for me, like, you know, I would book a trip. I'd be like, need some headspace, gonna go away for the weekend, you know, like little weekender. And particularly when you're in Europe, it's so easy to get like, I was looking at flights the other day, flights to Mallorca, 25 quid.
Lovely.
And I'm like,
sign us up. Why are we not on a flight?
Exactly,
right now.
We should have done this podcast.
To Mallorca.
You said, John, I'm just dipping up for a podcast. By the way, it's on a flight to Mallorca. I'll be gone for two to 3 days. See you soon.
See you on the other side.
We get back. We haven't recorded the podcast, but we had some lovely rosé and some brilliant tapas. But anyway, but you know, it was easy to do those things. And then all of a sudden you can't escape it. You can't do any of those things. And that's difficult. But I just think your approach is also so refreshing in that you were ready to let go of that version of you. I know you've spoken there about the lack of structure and things like that, but were there other elements of you? Was it your version of success? Was it parts of your career? Like, what was it you're ready to let go of?
It was everything. It was everything around that. Everything was fueled by a lack of self-worth, a lack of self-confidence. I think that was the main thing. I never was confident enough to go, this is who I am, this is my message, this is what I'm putting out there. Also, very important to say, I'm a recovering people pleaser. And when you are in that place of people pleasing, it doesn't matter what you need, or it doesn't matter what you want, or what you think even, because everybody else's opinion and what they need comes ahead of yours, because if you push back, they might not like you, and we can't risk that.
No, the world will end.
Totally. So because that was my experience, that paralyzes you, and that makes you go, okay, well, I'm not sure, because I don't want to upset anyone, I don't want to annoy anyone. And I think that was the other thing, that I didn't have any boundaries. I just didn't, you know, I had terrible boyfriends, awful boyfriends, but also a lot of friendships that kind of didn't work, just relationships generally, and that included work and sort of being freelance and having to, you know, hype yourself and be your own champion in that way. Everything was kind of stilted by that lack of boundary and by that lack of me being able to go, this is who I am, and that's okay. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Like, because somebody else will. And, you know, I don't like everyone and I don't like everything. So that's okay. But that's something, I mean, this year more than any other year, there's something about this year. I don't know if you're experiencing it. Just transformation, power. It feels really powerful. I mean, 2024, lovely. Just that alone. But I think one of the things that has been amazing for me this year is really getting into those boundaries and really seeing how they work best for me. Because I always thought, if you put boundaries in place, you've got to basically tell people you don't like them. Like, that's kind of what, and as a people pleaser, I was like, this is going to be, no, I can't do that. So once I recognised that actually it's not that, it's about managing your time or your relationship, because there's a lot of people that you can't just cut out of your life. You know, you might work with them. They might be family. You have got to have them in your life. So it's working out how to manage them, and that's been life-changing.
I love this. And I don't know about you, but I think it's also, you don't have the capacity after a certain point to keep going.
No.
I think there's parts of your life where you have excess energy to be capable of doing that and managing all those different things. And there is that surplus, and suddenly you don't have the surplus. You're like, oh, hang on, I actually don't have the excess of energy to give to this or to give to you. But also the personal responsibility piece, and like, you know, I'm working on this. Like, I remember,
I think we all are. I think I
Yeah.
want to say very clearly,
Yeah.
it's all a work in progress.
Yeah, I think we always are to a certain extent. But I remember even the other night, someone sent me a work message and it was like 9 p.m. And like, I will hold my hands up. I send work messages at 9 p.m. because sometimes it's the moment I get that I can send the message that I've forgotten to send. So they did nothing wrong. But they sent me a work message at 9 p.m. and I was like, why are they sending me a work message at 9 p.m.? And then I was like, hang on a fucking minute. Why am I looking at it at 9 p.m.? This is on me. This isn't anything to do with them. And like, I think it is just that piece as well of like,
Yeah.
I have to hold myself. Like, no one else is going to hold this for me.
Yeah, and I think that I love that, because I think that that's something that was really lacking for me as well. That exactly what you've said, that personal responsibility. It was always up to everyone else. I always wanted to hire someone to fix my life. Always. I was like, I'll hire a stylist. I'll hire somebody to tell me what to eat.
Yes.
I'll hire, you know, an agent, a PR.
Yeah.
Somebody will fix all this for me. Somebody will. And I think there's something really empowering about taking that personal responsibility and going, oh no, it's up to me. But actually, although that's very overwhelming and daunting, how nice. Like, I don't have to worry about outsourcing this. I can just actually do it myself. There's something really golden about that, I think.
Yeah. I love this. And you were saying like your definition of success has changed as part of this. Where you are now, what would you say that, hang on, there is another thing that I want to ask you, because just before we go on to this, talk about, I feel like Sarah, old Sarah.
Yes.
Did you host like a funeral? Did you host like a goodbye? Because it sounds like there was this very dramatic line in the sand. And if not, why not? Because it sounds like there was like a saying goodbye and like an honouring of her, and then this entering of the new.
It is interesting because I don't feel like I've done that.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy to look back on that and go, oh, God, I'm so glad she's gone, you know, and sort of dismiss her and go, oh, she didn't know anything. What was she thinking? Yeah. So I think you're right, because I think there does need to be some compassion for her and what she was going through. And actually, there's, you know, we wouldn't be where we are, would we, if all that hadn't happened and if I hadn't gone through all of that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There does need to be an honouring. But I think what you said about letting go of that excess, I think that's really crucial as well, because you do have less figs to give. Yeah. And there's something, no, look at me, not swearing because my mum might see this. I'm 40. I'm 40 years old.
I've never heard figs as well. It's brilliant.
You can have figs. But you let go of stuff, don't you? And that's lovely as well, because you're like, wow, I don't have the capacity to worry about this. I don't have the capacity to deal with this drama or this annoyance or whatever it is. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it as well.
Yeah, I love this. And as I was saying, like going into the success piece for you, what does that look like now? Like, how do you define success at this point?
So I think, again, previously, I thought success was probably fame. I think, you know, when you start on that journey when you're 21 and you're like, oh, I'm going to be on the radio, oh, I'm going to be on the telly, oh, you know.
And you were on the radio and on the telly as well.
Well, yeah, so. And guess what? So I think for a long time I thought it was that. Then I thought it was financial. And I do think financial security is a huge part of success. Yeah. Whatever that looks like for anyone. Yeah. I just think that sort of peace of knowing is really important. But I think right now, for me, it's flexibility, because I don't know when I wake up in the morning, you know, I might have a day where I've got no energy and I'm tired and I haven't slept well and I can't string a sentence together. Yeah. So I really need a life that allows for that. Yeah. And I think flexibility, because sometimes I'll be like on my phone at night, just like you, going, oh, I don't check my emails after 6 p.m. And there I am at like 11:30, refreshing, and thinking nothing's happening, you know, really having that feeling like, oh God, it's all happening somewhere else, or it's all happening for someone else. Like, where's my turn? And now I'm like, that's good, because what that means is that I've got flexibility. I've got a nice, I don't want everything all at once. I don't want an inbox that pings 30 times a day with people needing things or wanting things from me. It's just, and I used to think that that's what I had to have, like that's what success looked like. It looked busy,
people chasing you,
definitely, and rushed off your feet, and a super crammed diary that starts at 7 a.m. and finishes at 7 p.m.
Time block,
that's it. Like I'm over here, I'm on the back of a bike and I'm being biked over here and whatever. And now I can't think of anything worse. Like Jennifer Saunders talks about this, because she says she only likes to do one thing a day. And I'm like, but actually there's enough to do, isn't there? With all the things we have to do, we have to feed ourselves, we have to get dressed, we have to do something with our hair all the time. So there's enough going on. So just one thing a day is lovely. And I'm aware, there is a privilege to all of this, like there is. But I just think a pace of life that suits you, I think has got to be one of the greatest marks of success you can have.
Oh, I adore this, but I'm very Capricorn. So like I've struggled with this a lot.
Right.
And it's definitely where I'm trying to get to. Did you have any moments of resistance or like, because I feel like I love this sense of just like letting it go, but was there no moments of like clinging on of like, oh, I shouldn't let this go, or what about this? I work for this. Was there any of that, or did it just feel like full surrender?
I think there are moments like that still now, all the time. I think that's the trick. They don't go away.
Yeah.
I think they're just, it's reworking them, it's recalibrating them. So now when I have those moments of like, nothing's happening, I'm like, no, that's good. Like, how nice.
Yeah.
How nice to have this afternoon that nothing's happening. Like I can just... just be. Exactly. Like, isn't that the dream?
Yeah.
So just be and just like be here. But no, totally. I always come, and we all fall into comparison.
Yeah.
You see somebody doing something, you're like, oh, that's what I should be doing, or I'm missing a trick.
Yeah.
They're not doing that. So it's all part of it, I think. And that's another thing. For a long time, I just thought I'd wake up one day and I would have done all the right things, turned the key, and just everything would be easy and straightforward. And all of those hang-ups or all of those shortcomings would have just magically dropped away and I could just live my life. I really believed that. I believed that for a long, long time. And so realising, actually, I've been waiting for this now a long time. Do I want to wait anymore?
Yeah.
I don't. I think I'm going to have to get on with it myself.
Yeah.
That was big. That was a big moment. I can hard relate to
that.
Yeah.
I think I definitely, and I actually noticed it weirdly postpartum, but like I got to this point, and maybe it's just because my headspace was a bit different then, but I kept thinking if I could just get to the end of my to-do list, everything would be okay. And when do we ever get to the end of our to-do list? Like the to-do list,
it's a myth.
like it's a myth. It's a myth. It does not exist. But I do remember going through a patch and I was like, if I just get to the end of this to-do list, everything will be okay. And I fantasize, this is hilarious, I fantasize about going away to an island for like 2 to 3 days and getting through my to-do list, because if I got to the end of the to-do list, everything would be fine. And it was almost like relearning that thing of like, fuck the to-do list. Like, it's absolutely fine. Like, the to-do list is always going to be there. Do you know what? If you're going to be behind, and that's okay. Like, who is setting this constant deadline, and it was me.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I had that realization again when you were speaking, like, oh, you've got the free afternoon. Often we work so hard to aim for the free afternoon.
Yes.
And yet when we have the free afternoon, we're like, something is wrong.
Yeah.
Why am I free? I should be busy right now.
Yeah. The guilt of it as well. Like, oh my gosh, what have I missed? Like something, I'm not doing the right thing. That's just the worst feeling. That feeling of going, the party's somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like I'm not in where I need to be. And I think that's come with age. I think age is a big part of letting go of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to be 40, and I turned 40 this year.
I want to ask you about this. How is 40?
Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
You looked fantastic.
Oh.
Anyone who's listening, you need to go stalk Sarah on her Instagram. There's this like, is it like gold or like rose goldy? Like,
yeah, it's like a sequin
it's
number.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I didn't wear a bra with that, which was even better.
Babes,
loving that.
Babes, I just wanted to shake with you. I got nothing left, but like still, I want to shake the nipple that's left. Just like
if I started shaking with no bra on, I mean, 5-10 minutes later, we'd still have movement. That would still be
I just see
happening.
a full disco ball. That's how I was visualising it. That's how I was visualising. Also, I loved there was like a 3 in a row post, and I was like, yes, girl,
Yeah.
I love this. Give me all the gold content. It's fantastic.
There was more than one good picture.
It was
So I
brilliant.
was like, come on.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to be 40. I just have always thought people in their 40s, they look great.
Yeah.
They know who they are. I think that was the real appeal of it. I was like, they've got their shit sorted out. Like something's clicked for them.
Yeah.
And so that was what I was always like. I was like, 40 is going to be the one. So I was really excited about it.
Yeah.
And I knew that, we went on holiday because I was like, I am not waking up on my 40th birthday and making a cup of tea for myself in my own mug. I am not doing it. So we went away, which was amazing. I think, because we just haven't done that for so long.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. It was an amazing thing to celebrate.
Yeah.
I had a gorgeous meal. I had lunch with my friends. and then karaoke.
Oh, what were you singing?
So if you do karaoke, you book your room, you got your 2 hours, do a playlist. This is my best tip, right? I love karaoke. I love it. And so I did the playlist the night before, and then you can just go in, load it on.
Yeah.
And what you do is you keep the energy up.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to the end of a song and then everyone's milling about
What should I sing?
and then somebody puts the Eagles on, or somebody puts
What's the Eagles?
The Eagles, like
I'll know
they were
the
an
song.
old band. Yeah.
What songs do they do?
Oh God, I don't. What did they do? But more like somebody will put Bohemian Rhapsody on again, and you're like,
what's a turn around?
Oh yeah, and it goes,
and it never ends.
Never ends. And that eats
Stop
your time.
turning around, just fuck off.
So do a playlist, and then you've got all the songs you love.
Yeah.
And it keeps the energy up, like I say, and it's great because nobody puts something on that you don't want on either, because it's your party. You have your songs on. So Irene Cara Fame is amazing.
Oh, great
it
one.
Works so
Some
well.
leaps.
4 non-blondes.
Yeah.
So awake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I sing the top of my lungs. What's going on? Yeah.
I've just given myself away that I make up the words to songs all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I say, and I was like, no, that's not the lyrics. Excellent. That was not the lyrics.
But you've got them on the screen.
Yes.
So you don't need to worry. But I think a lot of people are scared of karaoke. And something else that I've realised is that if people are like, oh, karaoke.
Yeah.
It's chances are at some point, and it might have been when you were really young, it might have been once years ago, somebody's told you that you can't sing or you're not very good at singing. This is what I've learned.
Okay.
And I want to tell you that you can sing karaoke. Because it's about the energy. That's all it is. Like, you just got to commit. If you commit, and it feels amazing. Singing feels, I can't sing, but it feels amazing.
Do you know, I do agree with, so I was walking down Oxford Street the other day and there was the Hare Krishna. I fucking love the Hare Krishna.
I love them.
And the Hare, and I just went and stood, I was by myself, and I was like,
heaven.
I just stood on the corner because they were really, and they were doing the dance, and I was like, I'm really into this.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to, like, please can we do karaoke at some point, because we had Jules on, which he adores you, and we said that you were coming on. He was like, I love Sarah. Sarah's amazing. You have the best time. Which we knew already.
Completely in love with each other.
Yeah, complete in love. But I was very disappointed because, like, I was a bit of a fangirl of Jules. I felt like he's good fun on a night out, which he confirmed.
He is.
Yeah, very good fun.
Yeah.
Doesn't like karaoke.
But he did do it on my birthday.
Oh, did he?
He was right up there.
There we go.
We were on our knees doing Pet Shop Boys' It's a Sin.
He's such a liar.
Yeah.
He was like, no, it's karaoke, and there he is on his
Don't
knees.
you listen to her. He was there. Born This Way, Lady Gaga. We were all over it.
I love this. Amazing. So I wanna do karaoke.
Yeah.
Next time I'm back, that's my request.
Book a room.
Okay.
I'm there.
Okay.
It could be.
We need your playlist though.
You can have my playlist. It could be 9:30 in the morning. I'll be there.
Probably will be with the baby.
Fine.
Got childcare for 2 hours. Excellent. Let's go.
Let's go.
Sober karaoke.
Honestly, though, being locked in a room for 2 hours in the
Yeah.
dark singing, heaven.
Heaven.
Like, just gorgeous.
Endorphins.
But I did that, and also, because the other reason that I did that was we had lunch, we had karaoke, and then I was like, you can be home and in bed by 8:30. That's my kind of do.
Yeah.
And then after that, I woke up on the Sunday and I was like, wow, I'm done.
Yeah.
That was my 40th. I had a gorgeous time, had a lovely time with my friends.
Yeah.
had a lovely time with my family, was in, you know, on holiday with the babies, just dreamy.
Yeah.
Then it's like, right, we can all move on with our lives now. I've turned 40, and that felt really nice.
I love this. You're making me very, very excited for turning 40.
Yeah, be excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I want to go back a second because there was something that I wanted to ask you about, and it was, we were talking about baby number 3, and when we were talking beforehand, you revealed.
Yes.
You revealed the child. It's very strange.
Sounds like Jesus.
Maybe it is. Who knows? Guys, you heard it here first. So, birthing the reincarnation of Christ. No, but you were talking about, and I said, have I missed this? Because I like to think I'm pretty good at stalking, but let's be honest, like we miss things a lot. It's social. I never get it when people are offended and they're like, "Did you not see my post?" And I'm like, "No, babe. Like,
no,
I didn't. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what else to say."
I didn't check an hour ago.
Yeah, and the algorithm didn't like. I don't know.
Yeah,
what the fuck happened. Whatever
yeah.
happened. But I was like, "Have I missed this?" And you're no, not an answer yet. I'm just curious. Is this like was that a conscious decision or like? Yeah.
I mean, conscious makes it sound like, you know, oh no, I've definitely made a decision. And it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
I've had, and I think a lot of us can say this, a very weird relationship with social media, Instagram in particular.
Yeah.
And I loved Instagram. Like, it's probably where you and I met.
Yeah.
And it's where I met my community.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was just on stories. I put my smear test on stories. I was just on there all the time.
I missed that one, but I wish I hadn't. Yeah.
Everything was on there. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And then I had Nancy, and that changed things a little bit because I was like, yeah, this is kind of feels a bit more just for me. Everything else in my life has always been, yeah, I'll share it. Yeah, I'll talk about it. And then that happened, and I was like, oh, this would be nice to disappear for a minute, which I did.
Yeah.
And then I think it's sort of gone from there, really. I've never quite readjusted. And obviously, you know, Instagram went through that phase of ghosting us and, you know, everything kind of changed. And I was like, oh, I don't know where I fit. I don't know how this looks for me.
Yeah.
So I'm still in that place. And so, yeah, I just haven't felt, and I'm sure I will, but I just haven't felt that thing of going, oh, I'm having another baby, because I think, but does anyone really care?
I would like to say we do care.
Oh, that's kind.
I very much care.
That's
very,
kind.
Very excited.
Yeah.
But I also get it.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because, yeah, I don't have a reason not to, other than, you know, I feel like nobody joined my Instagram to hear about me being a mum. And I don't have anything much of use to say about it. There was other people who were doing great things, being very useful or very funny about it all. So I'm like, I don't need to contribute to that. So it's like, well, yeah, how am I going to talk about that on there? Yeah. So I'm just still finding my way with it. But I mean, it's not that I don't want anyone to know. Yeah. Very happy for everyone to know. Yeah. But yeah, it's I just haven't found my way yet.
I really get this. I didn't share about my I was going to say my first pregnancy, as if I'd had secret children in the in-between. But I didn't share about my pregnancy until I was, I can't remember, like 5 or 6 months. And to be fair, I'd had a complicated pregnancy and there'd been a lot going on behind the scenes and I was dealing with a lot. And they talk about excess energy. I didn't have the energy to share it. But it was also that moment, like you say, where it felt like it was for me.
Yeah.
It just felt like one of those moments where I was like, I can't, and I always saw people sharing it so openly. And like, I have a lot of friends, for example, who shared pre-12 weeks on Instagram. Well, I mean, the 12 week thing's the whole thing in itself, but like shared very openly. And I looked and I thought, oh, that's so lovely. And yet just for me, it just didn't feel quite right. So I totally get what you mean around sometimes it just feels like we're living. You're just living. It's not that
imagine
you don't
that.
Yeah. And it's weird, isn't it, that you almost have to justify it. But it's like you're just in it rather than thinking, how do I share what I'm in?
Yeah. Is this, maybe this isn't content.
Yeah.
That's, you know, and I think when you are used to sharing your life a bit more, I think it is hard to readjust to not doing it. But I think what you've said is so important because social media is meant to be fun. Like, let's not forget. It's meant to be. I know. It's meant to be. We're meant to be having a good time. And I think when it becomes your job or part of your job, or anybody who's got to promote something and they need social media to do it, it does become this thing of, oh, but I don't really want to, but should I? And I think that's the hardest thing. And I haven't cracked it like on social media.
Yeah.
But I think we have got to listen to what feels right.
100%. I think what you have cracked from the outside looking in, obviously this is very much an external perspective, is I feel like you've created a space on the internet where it feels good to be.
Oh,
and
that's
like
lovely.
I always feel like I come to your page and it's like, I feel like I'm having a cup of tea and a biscuit with you, and it feels, there's something warm about it. And I remember even when you were sharing about like the harder parts of postpartum, there was just something very real about that, and that felt incredible.
That's really lovely to hear, because that's all I want. You know, I would hate somebody to come to my page and feel rubbish or just feel like, I don't know. My whole thing, that the reason that I started Celebrate Yourself was to remind everyone that you're doing your best. Whatever you're doing, whatever it looks like, you're here, and you've only got what you've got today. You've only got the capacity that you've got, you know, out of 100 or whatever. So, and that's okay, and that's all right, and you're not coming up short, and you're not failing. And that's what I've always wanted to remind people. So that's really lovely to hear, because that's what I want. I want you to come and breathe out a little bit, and just to go, oh, it's not perfect. Oh, you know, look at my scummy cup of tea. Look at this incredibly cheap cherry bakewell that I'm just devouring. Oh my gosh, I could inhale cherry bakewells. I mean, we could do a whole podcast.
Cravings?
Yes, but they're only things that I liked anyway, you know, like fizzy sweets, like, you know, gummy sweets.
Good sour.
But I think that's because I'm not drinking enough water. I think my body is so desperate for water that it's like a jelly sweet will do at this stage. Like, that will do.
Yeah, we can drink the saliva that it creates.
They're juicy, aren't they? Like, but, you know, I had a packet that I left in the car, and it got really hot. And then I was driving along. I was like, oh, yeah, I've got those cola bottles. Let's see. And I peeled them open, and they'd all gone into like one blob that you could squeeze out, you know, like a froob.
No, is it still wet?
It was still like warm.
Okay.
I ate that. I drove along like squeezing it into my mouth.
I'm not sure I'm into that. It's the texture for me that would...
I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't the best dining experience
I'm not judging
I've had.
you.
No, that's
like,
kind. Thank you. I feel like I'm judging me slightly. Now I'm telling this story, I'm like... But yeah, fizzy drinks, like fizzy. But again, I just think I'm thirsty. I just think it is my body going, please, water, just any water. And it's the thing about me and water. This sounds a weird connection, but stay with me. It plays into my self-worth part, because I've always had a poor relationship with food and eating, and it's part of it that you're not worth it. You know, it becomes that sort of weird cycle. And water still is like a hangover from that.
Okay.
So it's still I'm not going to drink any water, because on some level, I'm literally not worth getting up, going over to the sink, getting water. I mean, I've got water here. I haven't touched it.
I don't.
You know,
we're
going to drink water.
On,
we're drinking. Cheers, Dave. Let's hydrate. Great.
It's great, to be fair. When you
when you do it. When you know what you do, you're like, oh my God, why have I not been doing this all along? This is the best thing I've ever drunk.
I'm revived.
But it does, it's still a weird little thing in my brain.
Do you know, I really, really get that. I actually had that recently. I was doing, this sounds very deep all of a sudden, but it is. I was doing a course all about the nervous system. And just because I was so tapped out of my body, feeling nauseous for so long, that my job right now is to get back into my body. And one of the things she said on it is she went, when you need a wee, do you get up and go for a wee? Or do you sit there and hold it and make yourself wait? Because if you're making yourself wait, you're signaling to your body that you don't listen to your body. And it was such a salty slap in the face of like, fuck, I am terrible to I will sit there legs clenched.
Yeah.
Like, oh, go in a bit.
Yeah.
No, why?
I'll wake up in the night and need a wee and go, no, I'm going back to sleep. And I will force myself. Like, but that is, of course we're saying that to our body. Like, that's so clear. And I mean, that's it. That must be it. My body is so desperate. It's like, okay, fizzy sweets.
Yeah.
Like, you're not listening to us on the water.
Yeah.
That's life-changing.
So you said about struggling with body, food.
Yeah.
What's that journey been like, and where do you feel like you're at now with it?
So I think it was very much, I was born in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about calorie counting. It was all about a certain body type. You know,
low fat.
yeah, thin, whatever.
Yeah.
Then, you know, obviously into the 90s and then even into the noughties when I was kind of, you know, I was all about strokes and skinny jeans and being an indie kid. And even that, when you look back on it now, you're like, oh, that was still the same aesthetic. That was still what we all needed to look like even then. So I think coming up through that, accompanied with diet culture, which was rife, and particularly, you know, my mum was always, I was always dieting with my mum.
Yeah.
You know, there was always that around. There was always, it was always about getting one over on your body. It was always like, well, if you can eat this, then your body will forget it's hungry, or you know, whatever.
What was that Kate Moss line? I think it was Kate Moss. Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels.
Yeah. And I remember thinking at the time, yeah, she's right. I never, you know, I want to be really clear. I've never had an eating disorder or anything that even looks like that. Yeah. But I have had disordered eating, which I think is just a problematic relationship with food.
And rife amongst women.
Yeah. Especially I think of that time. So yeah, it's huge. I mean, the unlearning is still going on now, and I'll still, it's interesting having the babies as well, because I still think of food as a comfort. So it's very easy to go, oh, come on, do this, and then you can have this, or let's have this. And it's like, wow, even that is like, you know, and that's very sort of entrenched as well, that's how you reward. You know, it was always rewarding with food for me. And like, well, if you eat this, then you can have this. And it's like, wow, it's, you know, and it's hard. It's a really hard thing to unpack and to stop as well. But I feel better than I ever have. Which is great. But I do still, there's a long way to go. I'm still got that emotional connection with food. And I think that is tricky.
How do you think we break that? Because first of all, I feel like I have a very emotional connection to food, and I will notice it as well. Like, if I'm stressed, I want to eat more. If I'm tired, I want to eat more. If I'm celebrating, that to me is wine and a gorgeous meal, and like all the rest of it. Like,
and that's okay.
Well, this
like
is the
that's
thing,
the
like,
thing, isn't it?
I do also love that side of it, and I think there is this tricky balance to find of like food being a celebration and it not being the only way. It's tricky. I think it's really hard.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's so hard, and I think that, you know, if you are somebody who enjoys food, like genuinely, I love it. I don't ever want to be one of those people who's like, oh, I've got to eat again. Or
same, I couldn't be. It's not in me. Like, no, I will never forget to have a meal. No, like it just won't happen.
If anything, I'm more likely to forget that I've had a meal and have another one. That's more likely to happen.
Jake does this. It's hilarious. We went for dinner the other night, and we overordered. We're overorderers.
Lovely,
just the way that
good.
It is. I've got Greek blood. Anyway, so got this meal in front of us, and he's struggling to finish it. And he's like, this is very unlike me. He's like, I'm really struggling here, and he's judging himself for struggling, because again, difference between men and women. Women eat less. Men, he's judging himself for struggling to finish it. Wow. So he's judging himself for struggling to finish it, and he says, I didn't even eat lunch in prep for dinner tonight. And I went, did you not eat the leftover curry in the fridge? Oh, yes. He had a whole fucking leftover takeaway curry for lunch.
I think he might be my hero.
Honestly, but I love it. And it's healing for me to be around, where I'm like, you literally, and you just forgot. Like, it's just like, you're not tracking it. You're not worried about it.
No. Just enjoying it. Just enjoying what he's eating and not thinking about it when he's not. I think that's perhaps, I don't know if I'll ever get there, but I think it's something to have in mind. I think.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I've loved this conversation. I feel like we've been here, there, and everywhere in the best kind of way.
I want to get a pudding trolley in and just sit here for the rest of the
Can we?
afternoon. I can't believe, like, we need to go and do karaoke.
No, I'm
Turn the lights down.
We have got the wind down, so maybe in the wind down we can just.
Oh my God, I'll get my playlist
Let's
out.
just sing for 15 minutes. Can you imagine?
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah. But honestly, I'm holding you to this. I want a karaoke date. I'm excited for this.
I'm excited.
I'm literally going to be living for it.
Get all your guests. Get everyone who's been on.
Oh my God, I would love
to all come down for karaoke.
Oh my God, this would be so fun.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be like, we've had a lot of mums recently, so I feel it would be like Mums Gone Wild.
Yeah, that's it. Daytime.
Yes.
A midday start.
Yes. People are going to be looking at it as like, is it a bachelorette part? I don't get it. Why are they
What
out
is this?
so early? That's what I was going to say earlier, just on that quickly. I went to Ibiza recently. Look at me, so young, so fun.
Yeah.
I'm in Ibiza. I was in bed every night pre-10 p.m.
Lovely. The dream.
The dream.
The dream.
It was fantastic.
If I see 10 p.m, I'm like, something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
Something's gone horribly wrong.
It did feel a lot for me. There was one night where we got back and she literally made a rule. She was like, none of you are allowed to go to bed pre 10 p.m. And we were all like, oh, okay. And then it got near to 10 and we were like really struggling. We were like, God,
Oh, please.
This is why she made the rule. Fair play to her. But like,
Everyone's
oh my God.
slipping away slowly. Lovely.
Literally. But yeah, this has been, you're just heaven, like actual heaven.
Darling,
thank
you
you.
are. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.